Hey, this is Tilak. Welcome back to our fast formula tutorial. Today, we are going to look at compensation default access level fast formula. In our previous lessons, we've seen that person selections and the eligibility fast formula. That two fast formula are more like a common formula. That eligibility belongs to benefit, person selection belongs to entire family of compensation. The compensation default access is only used in a CWP. Okay. When you are setting it up, you determine that hierarchy level, like the primary, secondary, or that manager or project. All this you define that. Along with that, you also set what kind of an access level you give to that hierarchy. There are three different levels available: that updatable, read only, and that no access, I believe. So in the fast formula also, basically you can give the same free access only, but the only difference is you can give it to a different people, different access. Okay, when you are giving it in the setup, it applies to everybody. If you want to give a different level of people, say for some kind of a department or some kind of manager, you want to give a different access, you can do that through the formula. So it gives more flexibility. That's the reason it is formulas used to over that. Okay. When we are coming to that context, it uses the same set of context. Okay, as we said earlier, the entire compensation uses the same set of context with a few exceptions. The same here. It's also used the common set of a setup. So we are not going to get into the detail of the context. You can look at my previous tutorial for the details. I will come to that access, that input value. Input values are also more or less same. Like we've seen the same set of input value in the previous CWP formulas. All the dates, plan ID, period ID. The only exception is here in the last one. Like you can see this one, the hierarchy type. The hierarchy type says there are the primary, secondary hierarchy type. So what type it is, whether you are touching the primary hierarchy or the secondary hierarchy, that's a hierarchy type. It pass it. So you know that you can write the same formula for a primary and the secondary and the different level. So you know which formula it is, so you don't have to write a different formula for a different hierarchies. So you can put a if condition to have that kind of a difference. Everything else could be if you have a common, if most of the codes are common, only that a few things changes from a hierarchy type, then you can write the same formula and you can write the logic into that. Return variable is any variable. There's no restriction on the return variable. The return value, there is a restriction. Okay, it can return only three values, either one. Either you can see updatable, no access, read only, and it has to be a capital, the same way what is given here. One of the value you are returning it. Okay. There is by any chance you are making a mistake or you are not sending a value or something is happening here, then updatable will become a default. Okay. Assume your formula some reasons failing, then updatable will be given to everybody, and that the log, ESS log, will tell you what is the wrong, what went wrong. Okay, so by default updatable, then you can give any other value. Okay, because since it's updatable, it doesn't mean you don't have to give a return value. Make sure you are returning one of the values. If it's updatable, return updatable. Or return no access or read only. Okay. Now, what are we going to see in the fast formula today? I am not planning to write any complication or any kind of logic into the formula. The formula basically I log the basic information of all the input values and the few contexts. Then I'm going to return hard code value. First I will return updatable, then I attach the formula into the setup. Then I process some people, then you see that how the updatable works. Then we'll change the formula into read only. Then we'll compile the formula. Then we'll process the same set of people. Then you will see how the read only works. Okay. We have seen enough of conditions or the loop, all these validation in the previous formula. So I don't want to repeat the same thing again and again. So we are not going to get into any logic into the formula. Okay, let's go and write the formula. As usual, I'm starting it from compensation first formula navigation. I'll go to the first formula. I'll open the first formula and I'm going to create a first formula in Access. So that called, we say CMB, CWP, FF Access. Let me copy it. Sorry, I forgot the name after the conversation. Okay. The type is compensation. What's that access? Okay, default access level. Okay, and as usual, I'm going to start from 2000. Okay. Okay. Let me put that the beginning of it. Formula name. Okay. Type. Okay, why I'm putting FF type is sometimes we are like keeping it somewhere else, you know what type it is. Otherwise, you don't need this information. Okay, purpose is to test the access level. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to copy and paste everything because there's nothing much to explain here. Okay. Okay. Now, what you see that we are putting all these default parameter hire date, full name, just to print that. Then we are giving a component ID and everything is a default value because though they are input value, we think it may not have a value. That's the reason I'm putting it. Okay. Then input values, we are putting all the input values. We talked about that. Only the hierarchy type is something new. So other than everything is we talked many times. Then basically I'm just change the CMB CWP for access level. I'll change that. Then return also change that. The only thing you are doing is I'm just telling read only here, read only here. Okay. Now let's see when I'm printing it, what happened. Read only. It's supposed not give me any read only for anybody I'm processing it. Okay. Now once it is done, we'll change the value second time. Then we'll see how it is changing it for the updating purpose. Okay. I am putting that save, submit. I'm compiling it. Okay, it is compiled. Now what are we going to do here is we are going to take one small example of first formula. We attach that into a formula. We already have attached a different formula, so that's fine. I just go to that plan, workforce compensation plan. I think it has start with. Okay, I'll take this one plan 001 for testing. Then we are going to that hierarchy, configure hierarchy. I think. Okay, we are going to the configure hierarchy. Okay, now the primary level, I'm giving a primary one. Okay, I'm not this is what we are giving it. So now I am attaching a different formula. This is I'm attaching it. Okay. Secondary also I can do the same thing. If I want to do, I can do the same thing. Can you MD? Okay, I'll give a set. Yeah, that is enough for primary set for testing purpose. Okay. If the secondary also, if you are doing that, it will be available. The same thing will be available to you. Like if I'm giving it plan, then if you are looking here, I can have the same available. So you can this tell you the type, the primary or the secondary will tell you that is what the input value passed to that, what type it is. So by that you know that you are going to attach to that. You can write the same formula for both. So with the type, you know that it is used for the primary or used for the secondary. Okay. I'm telling update allowed. Okay, now let's see. Okay, save and close. Okay, now we are going to process this. Okay, I think validation is fine. I took a validation. Okay, done validation. Start the conversation. Selecting the period, and basically I'm processing for CZMB, only one manager group, like I think CZMB Federer, I believe. Federer, Federer, okay. So, okay, CZMB Federer CEO. Okay, just I'm processing for only one manager hierarchy. Okay, I'm submitting the process. Okay, the process completed. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at the log first. I'm going to the child process, the PL/SQL process, not the Java process. It is Java process, the PL/SQL process, the sub process. I'm going there. I'm going to look at that log. The log probably going to say that, like okay, plan ID, this is fine. It is okay. Let me go into the top of it. Then I can come back to that. Okay. Now I supposed to say somewhere entering. Okay. Okay, it's okay. Entering access. Now the person ID is there, assignment ID is the person, full name is given to that. Now plan ID, everything is there. What it is written is the primary. That basically we attach that the access formula into the primary level. So primary. What it is written is read only. Now let's see how the data access works. Okay, now I'm going back to done. I'm done. Okay, I'm going back to the main menu. I'm going to look at that act as a proxy, that would be easier. Now let me look at the plan. Okay, this is here. Now if I go to award bonus, something like here, let's see what happens. This is the like the name of the plan. Okay, now if you look at that, I have nothing to change. There is no bonus amount, nothing I can change because it's all read only. Okay, this is only read only. Now what we are going to do here is, now I'm going to change the formula to update, like update only part, like then like let's, okay, now I'm going to the formula. Let me roll back first the changes, that would be easier. Okay, I'm going to the process, run batch process, back out. I'm giving it to the switching formula cycle and full back out. I'm going for that. Okay, I'm submitting it. submitting the process. Okay, now I'm not going to do anything here because we are going to come and look at that after we change the first formula. Okay, now we are going back to the first formula. User define, sorry, your first formula. CMB, CWB, start with that. CMB, CWB. I'm searching. So I get the first formula. I am updating the correcting the first formula. Correcting the first formula. Okay, I'm changing that to updatable. Okay, that is all I'm going to change that. Okay, I am saving that. Okay, I'm submitting it. I don't have to submit, that's fine. I'm going to compile it. Okay, now let's see. Okay, wait, is there anything? It is not giving. Sometimes like this is happening. So error, if you go and look at this, nothing is there. Then what you can do here is you can come back and then you can look at here what is happening here. That will tell you. Say still it is compiled. So if you want to come back, you can come back and verify. Okay, it is happening there. Okay, it is compiled fine. So I'll go back now. I look at that whether my process is completed. I mean the that backout process completed. Okay, there's a two-way. I'm I'm making sure that is I'm going that part. I monitor process. Okay, succeeded. Okay, sorry, this compensate. Okay, start process. So let me just refresh it. Okay, backout is succeeded. Okay, valid first from some later. Okay, if I want to see that whether it's really worked fine, what you can do, you can go again to the backout process. This is how I do that. Okay, I am not a professional in that compensation. I do it my own way. Okay, if you look at that, you don't see the plan. So basically, it's totally backed out. Now, what we are going to do here is I'm going to process that same plan again, starting the process. I'm going to take this one and the period. I'm going to cycle, open status. Okay, is CMB. Okay, FED, FEDR. Let's see how does it works. It is not working. Okay. FED, FEDR. Okay. Here probably it's supposed to work. Okay, I'm choosing that person. CCM CWP, CCM CWP, Roger. Okay. Now we are submitting it. Okay. Now it's going back to monitor process. For some reason, the process is taking longer time. The process completed. Now we are going to look at the the start process of the child process. We are going to look at the log. Okay, again we are going to the top of the list. Like entering, and now I say primary. It is updatable. Now let's go and look at that how the data looks like. I'm going back. Again, I'm going to that act as a process proxy manager. The same thing coming as the first one. I'm going to the award bonus. See, now it's opened up. So now it is allowed to update. If you are looking at the previous time, it was not opened up. It is a read only. This is how that formula works. Now what happened? You can give it to a different manager, different way of working. That whatever I'm doing doesn't make sense because in this one you can do it in the setup. You don't need a formula, but the formula, you can give a different condition to a different set of manager or a different conditional, like you can put a lot of apply a different condition to different people, everything. Okay, that's it for the day, and we will see next time probably with the hierarchy formula. Okay, until then, see you. Bye.